Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit carsplusguam.com for details. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on Prime Time, a 23-year-old man suspected in a missing man's death is arrested in Florida and is being extradited to Guam. Plus, federal funding will help with much-needed repairs at the Guam Department of Education, and budget hearings continue today. Taking the hot seat was Department of Youth Affairs.
Hafa and good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. No longer a missing person, 27-year-old Michael Castro's case has been classified to a homicide investigation, as 23-year-old Nicholas Wayne Moore was picked up in the state of Florida and is being extradited back to Guam to answer to not only murder charges for the death of Castro, but also attempted murder for a separate case.
For the past 8 months, authorities provided no comments and no updates on the status of missing 27-year-old Michael Castro, until Wednesday morning after the U.S. Marshals Service arrested 23-year-old Nicholas Wayne Moore in Florida. Subsequently, the Office of the Attorney General and the Guam Police Department held an emergency joint press conference, confirming Moore is suspected of murdering Castro and accused of attempted murder in a separate case. Chief of Police Stephen Ignacio.
An extensive investigation into Michael Castro's disappearance was launched by GPD's Criminal Investigation Division. Through the course of our investigation, our detectives identified 23-year-old Nicholas Wayne Moore as a person of interest in reference to the ongoing missing person investigation.
According to Ignacio, as the case developed, GPD obtained both a local and federal warrant. Moore was nabbed by the U.S. Marshals Service Florida Caribbean Regional Fugitive Task Force and assisted by Bay County sheriffs.
At this time, Mr. Nicholas Moore is being held, and it is our understanding that he will be extradited back to Guam to answer to these charges.
According to Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley, Moore will appear first in the District Court of Guam to answer to a federal warrant and then be prosecuted locally. It seems he will also be facing federal charges, explains AG Levin Camacho.
The separate charge is fleeing a jurisdiction to avoid prosecution. So that is a federal offense, and the U.S. Attorney's Office does have jurisdiction over that matter, and ultimately the U.S. Attorney's Office will decide how it wishes to proceed, but they're well aware that our office intends on prosecuting the murder and attempted murder charges here.
Law enforcement was unable to comment on whether or not Castro's body has been located due to ongoing investigations. GPD was also limited on providing details regarding the second criminal case Moore is being held on.
We also believe that Nicholas Moore was involved in another incident which involved the attempted murder of an individual in the central area. Again, because there's a connection between Nicholas Moore and two cases, we don't want to comment beyond that.
KUAM pressed for answers, but Chief Ignacio and AG Camacho didn't let up.
Right now we're just trying to lay out just procedurally what's going on, but this is very much a live investigation, and it is developing, I would say, almost daily in terms of where we're going from here. But this is a very big and significant first step.
Castro's mother, Melanie Guerrero, who has fought endlessly for justice and continued to keep an open dialogue with KUAM, confirms that Castro and Moore knew each other. This case is ongoing.
Marlene Ewilly will face no jail time for operating the car that fatally struck a 4-year-old boy back in 2019. Earlier this week, Ewilly entered a plea agreement and admitted to the crime. As we reported, she was indicted for vehicular homicide as a second-degree felony. According to the plea agreement, she faces a suspended 5-year prison sentence with credit for time served. She was placed on a 3-year supervised probation term. Although if Ewilly violates any of her conditions, then she could end up back behind bars. 25-year-old Melvin Sablon Leon Guerrero Jr. was arrested after allegedly sexually assaulting 2 young teens. According to a magistrate's complaint on April 22nd, a witness reported the incidents to police. Officers interviewed a 13-year-old victim who alleged that on March 22nd, she woke to Leon Guerrero on top of her. He allegedly told her, quote, "Just let me do it." The victim was able to fight Leon Guerrero off after 10 minutes, and he asked her not to tell anyone. Officers also interviewed a 14-year-old victim who alleged Leon Guerrero had been sexually assaulting her since she was 12. She said that on 3 occasions between December 2020 through March of this year, she woke to Leon Guerrero pinning her down, sexually assaulting her. Leon Guerrero is facing 3 counts of each first, second, and third-degree criminal sexual conduct and attempted first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Jury has been selected for George Chambers' Superior Court trial that is expected to get underway Thursday morning. Chambers is accused of committing pandemic unemployment assistance or PUA fraud for allegedly submitting falsified records to receive PUA benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic. Opening arguments are slated for June 10th at 9:30 a.m. The Department of Corrections is looking to start giving incentive pay of 25% to recruit and, more importantly, retain new officers. DOC spokesperson Major Anto Nuggan.
So if you make $13.44 an hour, you get your 10% hazard pay on top of that. But then we're also trying to get the incentive pay of 25%.
The incentive program has already been approved and will cost the department $2.5 million a year. All that's left is to identify where the funding will come from. How will the Guam Department of Education address some much-needed repairs? Hopefully with the assistance of over $200 million in federal funding. Tyler Matanani has the story.
Guam Education Board Chair Mark Mendiola gives the breakdown on how the department plans on using $287 million from the American Rescue Plan to address facility issues and ensure that the system is up to standard.
We've already started fixing a lot of our facilities. There was a thing called deferred maintenance costs that was done by the Army Corps of Engineers a couple years back. And they basically said it's going to take about over $100 million to kind of put the schools, bring them up to a certain standard, a certain level. So obviously with the amount of money that has been coming in from Uncle Sam, we're able to help do a lot of these repairs, but it has to be attached to safely reopening schools.
Mendiola adds that with the new modern perspective on education, GDOE also plans to place a heavy emphasis on STEM education.
They're putting in some serious resources to ensuring that the infrastructure for technology is going to be upgraded for many years to come.
As well as institute a pre-K program and redo all the textbooks so that they're up to standard. The board will meet towards the end of the month to look at cutting back approximately $40 to $60 million for the upcoming fiscal year budget. The board submitted their budget back in January with the 14 points of the Adequate Public Education Act in mind, which totaled to about $300 million. He details a recent meeting with Budget Chair Senator Joe Augustin, who is looking at reducing the local education budget due to large amounts of federal funding coming in.
We basically met with him and said, hey, give us a little bit of time because there's guidance that's coming in from Uncle Sam, right? U.S. Ed. And what could we use these dollars for? And then we can back out from some of the areas that we put in our budget. And so we were able to do that. And, we were able to do some facility issues.
Congress put in the maintenance of effort requirement with the intent to work in partnership with the local system. And the federal funds are not to be used to replace the local budget. Mendiola says he's confident in the leadership of the Department of Education that they will maximize the resources that Uncle Sam is providing. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
With Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's announcement Friday about the Vax to Win incentive program, we stopped by Operation Liberate Guam to see what pushed island residents to get immunized against the coronavirus.
After dealing with a challenging school year and not having social interactions with friends and family members, 13-year-old Chloe Matro and 17-year-old Sofia Matro of Zotnia made their way to the UOG Fieldhouse to get their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. They share that getting vaccinated will be the way to some form of normalcy.
I miss going out with my friends so I can, because my parents want me to. Yeah, and so I don't get sick.
Aside from not being able to talk to friends, just having to stay at home a lot really just affected how I perceived how I wanted to treat my health, because I didn't really like going out, but at the same time I felt that I needed to exercise more. So yeah, I really had to challenge.
13-year-olds Marky Mapo of Dededo and Momong resident Gabriel Muenu shared why residents should get vaccinated.
Please take the vaccine to be protected from the COVID-19.
It's safe to best to get a vaccination so you could be safe from COVID.
Operation Liberate Guam resumed administering COVID-19 vaccines to the community at the UOG Fieldhouse in efforts to get the island to reach herd immunity, or 80% of eligible individuals vaccinated against the virus. Joint Task Force 671 Public Affairs Specialist Janine Guzman said that there has been a slight increase of residents getting vaccinated. She said it's hard to tell whether the increase is because of the incentive program. However, there are a lot of people receiving their first dose of the vaccine. According to a spreadsheet, last Tuesday, 748 vaccines were administered. Then yesterday, 791 individuals got vaccinated. That is 43 more people who opted to get their shots. Appointment bookings are still available here at the EOG Caval Fieldhouse from 12 to 5:30 p.m. You can register online at tinyurl.com/VaxGuam. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
Thank you, Isaiah. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh held a brief media conference for Western and Pacific area reporters early this morning, Guam time, to pump up the American Jobs Plan. We asked for confirmation of whether funding from the AJP would be available to the territories, including Guam. Secretary Walsh did not reply directly, but did say, quote, the American Jobs Plan proposes historic investments that would revive crumbling infrastructure, modernize our communities, and prepare our economy for the 21st century, all while creating millions of good-paying union jobs. And stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
We're one of 8 U.S. regional fishery councils established under the Magnuson-Stevens Act. The council uses the best available science and local knowledge to develop fishery management plans for over 1.7 million square miles of our productive Pacific waters.
We worked with local scientists and managers to develop an app that captures detailed fishery data.
Accurate catch data from the fishing community are needed to sustain fish populations.
Take a proactive role in fishery management.
The power of data is in our hands.
KUAM News, in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau, brings you the Guam Safe and WTTC Safe Travel Certified Program Showcase. Look out for this powerful symbol for visitors, island residents, and industry workers alike, as it represents establishments with a consistent global commitment to safety practices. Stamped with approval by the Guam Visitors Bureau and the World Travel Tourism Council. Every Monday on KUAM News will feature a different local business who's taken the Safe Guam and Safe Travels pledge to maintain health and safety standards to get Guam back on track. Log on to visitguam.com to see how your business can receive the designation, what businesses in our community are Guam Safe certified, and have the WTTC Safe Travel certified.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back. The Department of Youth Affairs was among the agencies to go under the microscope today as the budget hearings continued. While DYA Director Melanie Brennan discussed her fiscal year 2022 spending plan, senators also wanted an update on a different agency she's also in charge of, Child Protective Services. The governor ordered the takeover of CPS by DYA in January. She cited a crisis situation because of a huge backlog in cases. About half a dozen DYA employees, including Brennan, are still at CPS.
Like I said, we will continue to be there. We are trying to, as soon as a new warm body comes in for CPS, we're trying to switch off. And so we do anticipate 3 warm bodies coming in June. But it has been difficult to recruit social workers for CPS. It's not an easy job, and sometimes we go through the whole recruitment process, we make a selection, and they turn around and tell us, no thank you, I found something else.
Brennan admits it has been a struggle. She could not say specifically when they would relinquish control over DYA. It could be August or even December, but she says she expects there will be a continuous relationship between DYA and CPS going forward. Local veteran outreach group The Way, the Truth, the Light is conducting a survey across the island to get a number of veterans who call Guam home. The group's mission is to help veterans and their families on the island, which is why they're conducting the survey. Bill Salisbury said Wednesday on the link that they've been doing outreaches in collaboration with village mayors to get an exact number of veterans within our island community. He stated that while doing outreaches in the community, he has learned that a lot of veterans on Guam aren't aware of their benefits.
We've been finding out that there are veterans who think that because they didn't go to combat, because they didn't go get hurt or lost a limb, that they don't qualify for benefits, but that is just not true. If you served in the military at some point in your career, you deserve whatever benefits legally that you qualify for.
After getting an accurate number of veterans on the island, HMI hopes it will justify why we need a VA hospital. Tonight at 7 p.m., the group will be holding a meeting at the PD Senior Center to answer questions about their initiative. The USS Springfield is the newest submarine to be home-ported to Guam. Congressman Michael San Nicolas welcomed the vessel to Naval Base Guam. He says this increases our on-island submarine capability to 5 vessels. He adds, quote, "We continue to strengthen our home and national defenses with these enhanced capabilities and welcome our sailors and their families who make us the safest paradise in the world," unquote. The USS Springfield comes with a crew of 150 sailors. The Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine is capable of supporting various missions, including anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface ship warfare, strike warfare, and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The public is invited to comment on the latest construction projects at Marine Corps Base Camp Loss. The Navy announced that a programmatic agreement memo is available for review through July 22nd, as required by the National Historic Preservation Act. The information is available at the NAFAC Pacific Cultural Information webpage. The public may submit comments via email to criwebcomment@navy.mil. The Navy has multiple vertical construction projects planned. They include a fire station, a police station, an enlisted dining facility, bachelor officer quarters, bachelor enlisted quarters, 3rd Marine Expeditionary Brigade Consolidated Headquarters. And with regional headlines, here's KSPN2 News.
Half a day, Zantino, Guam. Here's what's making headlines in the CNMI. A fire occurred early this morning at the Northern Marianas Seafaring Traditions Program UT in Susupi, burning half of the roof and a canoe. John Costro says that many found out about the fire through a video that went viral on social media. But he says that when he arrived at the canoe house early this morning, he saw half the roof gone and just knew that something was wrong.
As soon as I parked the car, I just stared and I was thinking, I was hoping I'm dreaming. But unfortunately, that's the sad truth. It did happen.
Costro and his team has been working on this canoe for about 2 years now, and it was so close to a finish until this tragic incident happened.
This week, we would complete the main hull. If you can look behind you, there's that one last plank that's going on this side of the canoe. And then we'll be done for the week, on the hull for this week. Then we jump over to putting the arms for the outrigger. And then unfortunately this thing happened, so we're back to, wow, I don't know, calculations, I don't know in my head right now.
His suspicion on how the fire started is this.
The fire started on the south side, which is the leeward side, where the wind's not blowing at all. I believe somebody was here resting, and probably mosquitoes were getting to him or her and decided to smoke the mosquito out and end up fire running away. Because that's the only assumption I can make. Because if this was done intentionally, why not just start the fire in the middle of the canoe or start it from the windward side and let the whole place go?
Canoe voyagers who worked on this project are deeply saddened, but Costro says they are grateful for the words of encouragement from community members that has helped them to move forward.
I'm trying to grasp the, that saying that things happen for a reason. So I'm trying to accept what's the good side of this. So far, maybe it's too early to say, yeah, what's the good side. But encouragements, and folks that are sincere about the project come by and share their sentiments about the program, and our bosses are announced that we will continue. So at least that side, we're seeing the light on the end of the tunnel.
For more news, please visit saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Sally Limas.
Coming up in sports, injuries sustained during a multiple car accident in Florida forces Frank the Crank Camacho to pull out of his upcoming UFC match. That and more when KUAM News returns.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Bun, mayo, chicken pickle, bun.
Bun, pickle,
Blasphemy!
No bun. The Naked Chicken Chalupa, only at Taco Bell.
I'm gonna take these chains that have been holding me. Today's the day I'm breaking free. I'm gonna walk away, live to fight another day. Step aside, world, there ain't no stopping me. I'm gonna stand, I'm gonna win. I won't give up and I won't give in. The higher I can climb, the more this life is mine. Step aside, world, there ain't no stopping me. You'll see me blaze a trail to the Milky Way. I told you, world, there ain't no stopping me. Step aside, world, there ain't no stopping me.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We get the show started tonight with some Little League Baseball from the Guerrero Field. Check it out. Guam's Little League Baseball Stars ended their season with an all-star game held at the Guerrero Field. 5 teams made up this year's season, with players from each team split into 2 all-star teams. The all-star weekend was played in a 3-game series, thanks to the coaches, parents, and volunteers who all gave their time to help with this year's league.
A lot of anticipation in the beginning. The kids were anxious to play. Everyone was anxious to come out. So, of course, with the COVID, we had to get authorization for puppy health. In addition to whatever plan they had for us, we also had to check with Little League International for their mitigation plan. So if you looked out in the field, you have the umpire behind the pitcher. So no umpire behind the catcher.
Because of the pandemic, Guam will not be having their regional tournament to determine who from the Asia Pacific region will be going to the Little League World Series. The international teams will not be part of the games, only teams from the U.S.
Little League organization basically is a volunteer organization. We're always looking for volunteers to join our group. Our group right now just consists of 5. For the most part, Steve Munia was one of the umpires, Steve Guerrero, the district administrator, myself, Rosales, Rosanna Castro, Angie Gumatauto, and Mariana Kinata. Angie and Mariana pretty much are handling the front, where they do the temperature check and questions for COVID or contact with COVID.
In MMA news, Frank the Crank Camacho, along with his coach Cookie Alvarez were involved in a multiple car crash in California. As a result of the injuries he sustained in the incident, it has forced him to no longer fight in his upcoming UFC bout, scheduled for this Saturday against Matt Frivola. Camacho this morning told KUAM that he is thankful for life, that he's good to go, and literally living to fight another day. Crank also said, please hug those you love a little tighter today. Prayers to Frank and a speedy recovery. Let's check out highlights now from the McDonald's All-Island game from the FD Phoenix Center. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
And there you have it, McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich. From the makers of the world's most stolen fries. The juicy chicken sandwich from the place that offers extra napkins for a reason. The tender chicken sandwich from the creators of a sandwich phenomenon. So you won't just be biting into a chicken sandwich. You'll be biting into McDonald's new crispy, juicy, tender chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It's the middle of the week, everybody. 2 days down, 2 more to go as far as the work week goes. So happy birthday on this midweek, June 9th, to Benny Jr. Rosalind. Happy birthday, Benny. We wish you countless blessings today and always. Your family all says they love you and they're wishing you a wonderful day. Your birthday shout-out is coming from Jaron, Noah, Caden, Isaiah, and Odin. Benny, have a wonderful birthday because today is yours.
And that's going to do it for us here on Prime Time. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and be safe.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.